Okay, and we should be live, so as soon as we get confirmation from people that they can hear us, we'll get started. But assuming that this is working, hello everyone and welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend an hour or so with us. I am Kriss. We have Marius
Hey, here I am.
and Jeremy.
Hi.
So let's just look for someone in the chat to say that they're hearing us. There's a few seconds of delay, which is why we might not be seeing the questions come in immediately.
Yeah, I can see a few people saying hi, so
Yeah.
I guess it's working.
Okay,
But
perfect.
I can't see questions at the moment.
Yeah, so what we're going to do for the questions is we'll ask you, great, we'll ask you to ask your questions. You can direct a question to the three of us. You can direct a question at just one of us. And we'll look for questions and then take it from there. Okay, so let's take the first question. How did you get started in YouTube and woodworking?
I guess there's a question for all three of us. So,
Yeah.
Chris, if you don't mind to start answering this question, go ahead.
Put me on the spot there, okay. Yeah, I guess that should ask for clarification if you mean YouTube or woodworking. Woodworking was just been a hobby for a long time to build stuff. I played with Lego when I was a kid. Everyone seems to say that nowadays. I think that's true for all of us. It's, well, Lego, they give you parts that are limited. You have a library of parts that you can use, so you can't build absolutely everything you want. Whereas with woodworking or even metalworking, that kind of stuff, okay, so you clarified the question was about how we got started woodworking. Great. And that's exactly how, for myself at least, I wanted to build objects, machines, things that, well, do stuff. And the way to build stuff, an accessible way at the time, was by learning to woodwork. That's pretty much what motivated me to start woodworking. Marius, you can take the next, be next to answer.
Yeah, I already got this question in a Q&A I did myself, and there I said I wanted to answer this in a separate video because for me it's, yeah, I don't know if you want to, if you want me to answer it right now, let me know, or just leave a comment. I guess you will all say yes. And if you wait for the video, I would prefer making a video to answer this question. So I'll just wait for the answers of you and Jeremy. Your
Well,
turn.
I grew up in a farm shop, I guess, so there's been stuff being made around me all the time, and I just kind of fell into that. I mean, I've been mostly working with metal since I was about 12, and about 2 years ago I got started in wood, and yeah, I decided I liked wood better than metal. So,
All right.
so I've kind of been making stuff all along, I guess.
Okay, I got 2 yeses and 2 make a video. So
Yeah, you
I
gotta
will
do it.
save that question for a video and let you guys be curious. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I want to make a comment. I saw a question up earlier if I'm sponsored by Festool. No, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I work at a semiconductor company and just internships in between studies. That's how I've accumulated money to pay for the tools that I own.
Okay, here's a question for all of us. How tall are we?
I don't know.
Really?
Yes.
I think I'm about 6'1" or 6'2", something like that.
Okay, for me, it's in metric, so 1 meter 68 or 170. I don't remember. Long time since I last measured, but I really don't know what this is in feet. And another question for all three of us. How old are you?
I'm 19.
I'm 23.
I'm 21.
So together we're like 63.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look for some more questions. Okay, and there we have one. I guess it's for all three of us. What was your first Wandel project? So, project by Matthias. I don't know, Chris, do you already have one?
I have not built any of his tools yet, but I am eyeing the bandsaw, so that's probably coming in the future.
And I have built his bandsaw and his router. Bandsaw first.
For me, the first one was the router lift. The tilting router lift design, but without the tilt feature, and second then was the box joint jig, and then the bandsaw. Yes, yeah.
Marius, you're getting a lot of questions asking how much you paid for your small dust collector, so how much did that cost if you have the number offhand?
I know I would get this question. I haven't summed it all up, but let's exclude the motor first. I guess it was about a little over 100 euros, and that includes 50 euros for just the filters. The wood wasn't really expensive, the plastic wasn't really expensive. Well, the motor neither, it just cost me 10 euros. And yeah, the bit of plywood, you can build it with less than one full sheet, and the full sheet costs 40. So I would say, yeah, 50 filters, 50 wood, and including a little other stuff like glue and screws and stuff. So yeah. Ha! Question for all of us. Do you like metric or imperial better? Or which one do you like better?
I would say I prefer metric. Oh, it as well, and most of my audience is in the US, so I just go with imperial.
I'm okay with either one. I just wish they would have only one and pick one and stick with it. Metric is the only one that's logical, so I would probably just say metric because of that. But really, I'm sure anyone can adapt and learn either measuring system. Just would be nicer if we could just have one instead of having rulers in all of them, because reality is, I think, at least speaking for myself, I have to work in both metric and imperial all the time. I don't have the luxury of liking one really more than the other.
For me, it's definitely metric because I grew up with metric, and yeah, I always knew before woodworking, I knew that this imperial system existed, but I have never used it. And since woodworking, I'm kind of forced to use it sometimes, and yeah, then you kind of start learning it. But yeah, I still like metric a lot better.
Question for all of us, what is your favorite tool?
Difficult question.
Difficult question.
Yeah. Let me split it up into, let's say, power tool and hand tool. For power tool, I guess it's one of my small drills because it's so handy for everything. And hand tools, I guess a pencil.
I would say my favorite tool is the bandsaw, but it's not the most used. My table saw, but I really like my bandsaw.
I really like routers, so that would be my favorite power tool. Yeah.
Here a question for Jeremy and Chris. Where are you located?
I am in Toronto, Canada.
And I'm in Arizona, Southeast USA.
Okay.
One from
Okay.
MK Knives. Who are your idols? And I saw one earlier. Who are your woodworking idols?
I wouldn't say I can't say I have one idol. I mean I like a lot of them, but I wouldn't say I have one really favorite one. That I learned from different sources or different people. So yeah, I can't really answer that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Everyone that I know that does woodworking is an idol. Just the fact that they enjoy that kind of thing. It's cool.
Yep, I agree.
Another one for all three of us. Have you all three guys did woodworking on school?
Not at all for me. There was no such thing as shop class in the schools that I've been to.
Yeah, I've just learned woodworking on my own.
Same for me. I don't know how many woodworking schools exist in Germany. I just know for regular schools, woodworking or some sort of these subjects, they don't exist, which is kind of unfortunate. Okay.
Lots of questions to pick from. This is difficult.
Yeah.
One for me. How long have you had your South Bend? That would be my metal lathe. And I've had it for about 4 years, probably.
One for all three of us. What was the most fun project you ever did?
I was avoiding that question because I don't know what I would pick. The most fun project I have done is probably something I did not document.
I think my most fun project, I showed it on Instagram, but it wasn't on YouTube. I made a lamp for my cousin, a Texas-themed lamp out of some weathered walnut wood and steel. That was a lot of fun.
I guess for me, it's preparing the bowl blanks. Just because turning green wood is so much fun. It's just so relaxing, and yeah, I just enjoy that.
Do you pay for your own tools for all three?
Yes.
No, for most of them, but for some, my parents do pay a little bit of them.
For me, my parents have given me a bit of a loan on some of the tools, but I've pretty much paid for all, except for a couple of them that I got from companies for free.
Are you making money with woodworking? It's for all three of us.
Yeah, we make a little bit of money. At least from YouTube. That usually doesn't pay as much as people would expect it does, and that is indeed the case. For now, I don't do anything other than YouTube. I don't sell any projects, so just YouTube. It's some money, but it's not a lot of money.
And I have made a little money with woodworking projects, and likewise a little bit from YouTube, but it's not very much.
Yeah, I don't make money just with the woodworking. I do sell a few little things to friends, but nothing official yet. And yeah, the little money that YouTube makes. Question for Jeremy. How big is your shop?
12 by 24 feet.
Marius, you got a question in German. Now you have to read that.
Okay. Should I read it in German or should
Yes,
I
in German.
directly translate it? Okay. Hi Marius, was macht dir eigentlich am meisten beim Drechseln Spaß? Do you also want me to translate that? I
Yeah.
guess so. What is the most fun about turning wood? Or about wood turning? Yeah, as I said, turning green wood is the most fun for me. And yeah, and when you finish sanding and then stop the lathe and can see the finished product, that's also pretty cool.
Have any of you been injured during woodworking?
I have had a close call at the miter saw, of all things, but really splinters, that's the worst I've had.
Yeah, major injuries, no. A few close things. Yeah, I sanded into my fingernail with the disc sander, but I could feel that and backed off immediately. But I mean, a little sanding. I got a little injury from my drum sander because I got stuck with my finger in the drum, but that only was for a split second and didn't do any damage to my finger. I guess the worst injury I had with a chisel, let's say this is a chisel and I slipped and directly hit into my thumb. That was just a little bit of blood, but no, that's really all.
I think the worst for me would have been on my edge belt sander. I slipped into that one time and, yeah, ground away some of my finger. Not too bad, but it was really painful for a while.
A couple people are asking all of us what our first tool was. So if you remember, what was your first tool?
I don't
first
have a
tool.
first. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
My first tool was my CNC router, strangely enough. That's
I
kind of
didn't
how I got
start.
started.
First tool. I had let's say a few basic tools already existed because before I was woodworking, you already have some tools on hand, like a drill, um, a circular saw, and a jigsaw. Yeah, so I started with these.
Same here. I had a few like that, but the first one that I bought was my CNC router.
Yeah, I same boat here. Had a drill. I wouldn't really call it a first tool. Maybe the first woodworking tool was a miter saw. Yeah. Actually, I had a tape. No, no. Okay, there it is. I had a table saw a long time ago. Cheap table saw, and witnessed a lot of kickbacks with that thing. Uh, so I no longer have a table saw, but I guess that would have been the first tool. Gave it away.
Chris, here's another question for you. Have you thought about doing woodworking professionally? Because you said you were working for a semiconductor company.
We'll see if you guys all become my patrons and give me like $10 a month. Yeah, why not? Yeah, it doesn't make as much money as working for a semiconductor company does.
To all three of us again, when did you start YouTube and what got you motivated to do so?
So, uh, I started woodworking. I mean, taking it really seriously would have been 2 years ago, just about. Questions about dates are difficult because as time keeps going on, the date keeps changing. I mean, the time from which you started keeps changing, but yeah, I think it was 2 to 3 years ago. Um, what got me motivated? I just wanted to build things, and it's really for me, it didn't feel like it was all of a sudden I want to start woodworking. Gradually, I wanted, I don't know, I somehow accumulated tools, and then eventually I realized I could start building things with those tools. So then I started building things, and I enjoyed the satisfaction of building something, a physical object. So I just kept building.
As far as what I got started woodworking, about a little over
Question
2
was
years ago. What was that?
the question was about starting with YouTube.
Oh, okay. In that case, I started when I turned 18. And what got me inspired? I have no idea. I don't know why I started. I just did.
For me, it was pretty much after I finished building my big dust collector. I wrote to Matthias and wanted to publish an article on his website as a viewer project. And he asked me if there would exist some kind of video because I only posted him text and pictures. And so I said, yeah, I could just shoot a video real quick. And at that moment, I realized, hey, I have so many other ideas that probably are worth making a video about. So I told him I would upload it to my own channel, which I created at that time. And that was basically the beginning for YouTube. Another question for all three of us. Did you get inquiries inquiries from TV companies about making a report?
No.
Nope.
What was it, Chris?
Nope.
You s-
Nope.
No. Okay, no. Me neither.
We have a lot of conversations going on there in German now.
Yeah, a lot of the German questions are asking if I could teach you German,
Okay.
but I probably can't. German is so difficult. If you compare, let's say, woodworking, talking a lot about woodworking, it's so much simpler to talk about it in English than in German, because certain tools or words just don't exist in German. Like the simple word jig. The German word is so, it doesn't, there is no really good word for that. And there are a lot of other, German in general is so hard, really difficult language. So I have highest respect from people who are not German and are learning it. And if they then can speak fluent German, that's really amazing.
There was one up here. I've heard that you can't get stacked dados in Germany. Is this true?
Yeah, that's an old question from a lot of people. As far as I know, it's not illegal, but the saws you can buy in Germany or generally Europe have really short arbors, so you only can mount one blade. And the reason for that is that a saw in Europe has to stop in a certain amount of time. And a dado stack is so much heavier and has so much momentum when you want to stop it that it wouldn't stop in this time. I know that I can install a dado stack on my saw because it has a really strong motor brake, and it also has pins that stick into the whole dado blade and prevent it from slipping. And I think that's the only saws that you can use them on, and that they are also allowed. There are a few other saws that can mount a dado stack, but they all need to have a really strong motor brake to fulfill the great law. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question for all of us. Give us some tips to start a woodworking YouTube channel.
I would say don't get carried away with the equipment. I'm still making my videos with my phone and a laptop, and that's all I have.
Yeah, just get started.
The most important thing is the story, not the equipment, not how you edit.
Yeah. And the other thing is practice and do it over and over again. I know, and I would say try talk in front of the camera. It's super weird talking the first time to a camera. And yeah, I myself had a really long time getting comfortable with that, but yeah, because yeah, if you talking to a camera and people can see your face, they can connect your work with a person. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just get started. Send us your video if you make one. Send us your channel. Any plans for Patreon? I don't know why I picked that question, but actually, Marius and I are already on Patreon, so I guess that's a question for you, Jeremy. If you want to find our Patreon links, you can go to our channel pages, and should be a button over there.
I plan to get on Patreon sometime, but I need to switch banks first. So I have some business to do before I can do that.
For me, I wanted to be a little bit more active on Patreon. That's all the plans I have. Another one for all of us. How did YouTube influence your skills and knowledge? And what would be the difference if you were only viewer rather than YouTuber? Nice piece of quiet.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I don't think I have an answer. I mean, I just don't really know what would be different. I haven't thought about that.
I would say as a viewer, it definitely influences knowledge. You really get a lot of knowledge just from watching. And if you watch and then, well, try to build it yourself, then your skill will improve. And doing your own projects, I know, I don't know, you want to make something that's worth watching and that makes you probably think a little bit more creative and develop new skills. So, yeah, for me, I would say doing YouTube definitely improved on skills. And the knowledge improved mostly from watching and a little bit from doing myself.
It is important to do it yourself and not just watch, though. I mean, you don't learn just by watching. That's my experience.
There are a couple questions for Marius and I if we can weld. I actually took a welding class, my first exposure to welding just a few months ago. We did stick welding and oxyacetylene welding, and I liked it a lot. It was fun, and I want to go out and buy a welder. The time for that hasn't come yet, but hopefully in the near future, that's something I want to get into.
Yeah, same for me. I want to get into it, but I have never welded anything yet. I roughly know how it works, but that's all. Yeah. Now, a few more questions. There are so many. Oh, this is a good one for all of us. Do you enjoy the woodworking or video production? No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, which one do you enjoy more, the woodworking or the video production?
For me, woodworking. But I definitely don't mind the video production.
I would say the same answer.
For me, it depends on the project. If it's a project that makes for a long video, that's just tedious work, then I like the woodworking thing more. But if if I edit to music, the video matches the beat of the music, it's not really fun to edit, but the result is so nice, and it's so, yeah, at that time I kind of like the editing more, but yeah, generally the woodworking wins this battle.
How old were you guys when you started and thought about woodworking?
A little bit over 18.
It's hard to remember dates. I don't know. To have thought about woodworking, I was in elementary school so that would have been early teen years when I was doing some designs. I was into electronics at that time, so I was building electrical circuits and wanting wooden enclosures for those electronics projects. So I was using Visio to draw up 2D plans of the boxes I wanted to build, and then I knew a woodworker that was able to go and do this kind of stuff in his shop. That was the first exposure to it, but then I was not doing the woodworking at that point myself. I was kind of designing. So there you go, thinking about it. When I really got started would have been, yeah, I would have to guess, but maybe around 18 as well, around that age.
And for me, woodworking, when I was about 17, I started making. I mean, like I said, I've been making as long as I can remember, but I started really seriously making stuff when I was 12. That's when I learned to weld, and yeah. That was mostly metalworking at that point.
Sebastian is asking what our favorite kind of wood is.
Baltic birch plywood, of course.
Yeah, plywood as well. If we're having to pick, well, Baltic birch plywood, that's what I use most of the time, but I really like maple as a material. Haven't worked with it very much, but something about it appealed to me. But again, I don't buy very much of it at all.
I also really like the birch plywood. For solid wood, I would definitely choose maple and walnut. And I also really like apple wood, but just for wood turning. Because if you ever, when you turn apple wood, when it's still wet, it really smells great. And it works, yeah, it's a pleasure to work with. Oh man, I had a good question, but I lost it. Okay, here's a question for me. If I like my new camera, yes, I do like it very much.
I want to ask the viewers a question. So when we posted this announcement a couple days ago, this is just calling for the chat to get spammed, but how many of our channels did you know about before we posted that announcement? Just out of curiosity. And it's going to take a while because there's a delay, but we can go to another question.
Do you think YouTube woodworkers are copying too much from each other and not designing their own unique projects as a result? That might be an interesting one.
No, I don't think so. It maybe seems like we are copying a lot because every day there's a new project coming out, and at some point there are all projects done. Somebody has already done them, and you can make them in a different way, and then it seems like you have copied them. But for me, I made a project and thought, hey, I had a really good idea, and then I saw it some other day on YouTube, and oh, someone else already did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot, I think, to all of us, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I think unless we are just real directly copying somebody, it's still, there's at least a good portion of the project that's original.
Another one for all three of us. How do you like pocket holes? Or what do you think about pocket holes?
I like them. I don't see anything wrong with them. I'm gonna get hate for that, but
I think they have their place, but a lot of people, well, they aren't as strong as some people think, maybe. They really don't hold that well, and yeah, I don't like them very much, but they do have their place.
Yeah, I would say the same. They have their place, but I don't have a pocket hole jig, or I don't intend to use it because that's a personal preference, but I think when I would use it, then I would just say to myself, I was just too lazy to do it in another way that's better or stronger or whatever.
Yeah.
So I always have this dilemma with myself. And we have another piece of quiet.
yes.
We need a few more questions. Serious questions, though.
How much time does it take to draw a project in CAD? And does it pay off to invest so much time designing to avoid mistakes during building?
Yes, it definitely eliminates a lot of mistakes. And how long it takes, that depends on the project. I mean, the small dust collector took me probably, I stopped counting how long, but yeah. Let's say a quick project takes maybe half an hour to an hour without working out all the details. So to get started actually working on it, I think I need 30 minutes to an hour, yeah.
It depends on the detail for me. For a lot of my own projects, I draw them up pretty quickly with very little detail, just to work out a few dimensions and, like you said, eliminate mistakes. But for my plans, there's many hours go into every one of those because I put a lot of detail in them. I don't keep.
What software are you using to design your projects?
SketchUp for me.
Same for me.
To design, I still just sketch them out on paper. But to make plans, I've used a mix of SketchUp, a mix of AutoCAD. Yeah.
Huh. Is a drum sander worth the build? Do you use it frequently? I don't know if this is just a question for me because I don't know if you have one.
I don't.
I don't.
Okay. I would say yes, it's worth building one. I wouldn't build it as big as I did because I don't use it as frequently as I originally thought. But when I need it, and yeah, it can do a lot of tasks that just no other sander can do as fast as a drum sander. And yeah, I would say it's definitely worth building one if you have the space.
For everyone, what kind of table saw do you think is better, a European sliding table or the big, heavy American kind? I don't have a table saw, so I don't have to answer this question.
The European style sliding table saws are pretty hard to get here, and if you do, they're normally giant. So for me, they're not much of an option, but I would probably prefer that if I had the option.
Now that I'm having a sliding table saw, I definitely prefer it. It's interesting because the traditional US or American style heavy table saws are not easy to get here in Germany or Europe. The sliding table saws are much easier to get. And I would definitely prefer them. And they're just as heavy as the cabinet maker saws.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
My one weighs about 300 kilograms. That's
quite a bit more than mine.
Is CNC real woodworking? Yeah,
it's working with wood.
Yeah. Define the spelling real woodworking. I guess Steve Ramsey did a good video about that recently, explaining what he thinks, and I totally agree with what he said. Do you do woodworking outside of YouTube?
No, not really. If I build something now, I document it and it gets published on YouTube.
Yeah, I build quite a bit without documenting it.
Right now, I guess the majority of my projects are documented with a video, but I also do sometimes quicker projects that are not worth making a video without documenting it. So, yeah.
Do you have a question?
Nope.
I have one that I like. Would you consider diversifying your YouTube channels and branching away from strictly woodworking? For example, start introducing electronics and metalworking projects. So I guess, well, Jeremy, I'll let you talk about it, but you already do metalworking.
Yeah. Most of my videos have been woodworking, except for the table saw fence and router table fence, but I plan to do more metalworking. And possibly electronics too. I'm interested in all of this.
I guess if I have the knowledge and the opportunity to do metalworking or electronics, I would definitely include it.
Yeah, I would love to have big metalworking machines like a mill and a metalworking lathe. Just don't have those tools yet, and they're kind of big. But electronics, definitely. Actually, there will be a taste of electronics in my next video, but more so in the future. I'm I have some electronics projects planned for sure. So yes, for all of us.
Here's another one for all of us. What are your favorite YouTube channels besides woodworking channels?
Well, are we talking besides just strictly woodworking? I mean, can I include metalworking channels?
I guess. Sure.
Well, I don't know though. I don't subscribe to that many metalworking channels. I'm not sure.
For me, I really like Minute Physics and Vsauce, all three of their channels. And I also, yeah, all the science channels. There are a few more. I know Veritasium, Smarter Every Day. These kind of channels I really like. Other than that, a few German channels. I'm not subscribed to them, but I watch a few videos of them. But
And I just remembered ClickSpring. That's definitely a good one.
oh, and I remember another one, Linus Tech Tips. That got me into building my own computer because I needed a better one.
Yeah, I like music channels like Mystery Guitar Man, Kurt Hugo Schneider. That's aside from woodworking and metalworking.
Mhm. Okay, let's wrap it. Let's take the CNC thing again. What are your opinion? What's your opinion about CNC machines? Are they useful for a hobbyist or a small garage shop?
My opinion is they are currently too expensive to be worth it. If they come down in price, then yes, they're good tools, but right now they're too expensive.
Yeah, I would say also they are too expensive. If we talk about serious CNC machines with, yeah, good quality ones. I
Right.
mean, the X-Carve is a CNC machine, but not a very good one.
And the X-Carve isn't cheap either.
No, yeah, not really.
I mean,
In comparison,
relative to
it's,
the others, it is, but it's still not cheap enough to be
yeah,
worth what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a CNC, so I'm avoiding this question. Would you want to design and build your own house? For all of us. Yeah, that's definitely something I would like to do, and I hope I have the opportunity one day. Simple
Yeah,
answer.
I would like to, but it would take so much time. I'm not sure if it would be worth it to me.
Yeah.
I would say house, no. Shop, freestanding own shop, maybe.
Well, I built my current shop, so I've already done that one.
Okay, here's another more woodworking related. What tools do you use the most?
For me, my bandsaw and my table saw, and well, my table saw and my bandsaw, I should say, in that order, and my router table, which will probably be changing to a shaper soon.
A ruler. A router. Yep. Lots of router use. And then, I mean, a circular saw to cut everything down. That's what I use.
For me, it's definitely the dust collector, because every time any tool is running, the dust collector is running. But besides that, I guess bandsaw and table saw.
Do you recommend buying used tools or just new ones?
Yeah, definitely go for used ones.
Yeah, same here. If you can buy a used one that does the job and that has all the features you need, then definitely used. But get quality stuff. Don't get used junk.
Chris, your opinion?
Yeah, if you can find the tools used at the time you want or need them, I guess buy them used. I'm a living contradiction of that statement because I haven't actually followed any of that logic, but if you can find them, that's the issue for me. It's not easy to always find what you're looking for.
Okay. Next one to all of us. What do you think about all the amount of advertising videos coming from other YouTubers instead of real projects?
It's a necessary evil. These guys need to make a living, so they need to do what they need to do. Advertisers pay good amounts of money.
I think advertisements can be incorporated into build videos. I don't necessarily like the advertisement-only videos. The advertisement can be part of a build video. But yeah, then that's fine.
Yeah. Many of the YouTubers that include the advertisement make a living off of that. And if you have ever run a channel, then you know that you don't get as much money as you would think from YouTube. So you have to include this sometimes to make a living off. But yeah, the advertisements only, I don't like them so much. But the ones included in project videos, so making a break in the project and saying sponsored here and there and then go on, that's okay.
All right, so I'm gonna get washed out by the sun any minute here. I think that was a pretty good hour of questions. That's the time that we were aiming to keep this running. I don't know if we'll see any last minute interesting questions to answer. Do you guys have anything on the top of your head that you didn't get to answer?
I don't think so. I was just waiting for questions, so.
Yeah. No, but we really appreciate everyone coming out, and that was really great to talk to you. It's really awesome to, be able to do this kind of thing with the audience, and maybe we'll do more of it. If you guys like it, let us know. We will be posting this video to our personal channels once it is over, probably within the next day or so. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Quick question right there, if it's possible to reach us by email. Yes, if you on YouTube, go to our channels. Where is it? You click the About page, and then there you can find our email addresses. Yeah, so that's all I have to say. Any?
Yeah, and as we upload these videos to our channels, how you can rewatch it if you missed any of the questions, you can also let us know in the comments if you liked what we did here, and yeah, tell us if we should do it again or not, if we sucked or if we didn't. So
We're learning.
yeah, fun experience for me at least, I guess, for all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right, thanks again, and we'll see you again in our next video sometime. Bye.
Bye.